Are you a male in your 40s suffering from fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleep apnea, decreased libido, or decreased quality of erections? If so, you may have Googled and read that you have low T, or you're going through the male version of menopause called andropause. This may or may not be true, but unless you get a thorough workup, you won't know. What I want to talk about today are very common metabolic drivers to low testosterone or testosterone deficiency in males, also known as adult onset hypogonadism. This is very different than clinical or the conventional medical hypogonadism, and the differences are what I want to dive into today, because understanding these empowers you with strategies that you can implement to improve your testosterone naturally without taking testosterone creams, injections, or pellets. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. It's very possible to be a male suffering from hypogonadism, but it's not probable that if you have low T, that your low T or your testosterone deficiency is due to primary hypogonadism as defined by conventional medical standards. In fact, up to 89% of men suffering from testosterone deficiency do not fit into the conventional or classical medical criteria for hypogonadism. Men that fit those criteria have prolactin adenomas or have had surgery or radiation that's damaged the brain and the production of it. So those are not factors in 89% of men suffering from low testosterone. So what is driving it? Well, research has shown that low testosterone is associated with many of the common metabolic disorders in our society. Diabetics, type 2 diabetics, up to 50% of them have testosterone deficiency. 52% of obese males have testosterone deficiency. Up to 74% of men who take opioid medications for pain relief have testosterone deficiency, and the testosterone deficiency has been found to be dose dependent in those men. 42% of men with hypertension have testosterone deficiency, and 40% of men with dyslipidemia or cholesterol issues have testosterone deficiency. Now, where on the list was erectile dysfunction? Surprisingly, only 19% of men with erectile dysfunction have testosterone deficiency. So if you're waiting for the symptom of erectile dysfunction to show up, you could have had low testosterone for a long time before that. And if you look at all of these factors and the common underlying theme, all of these things, the diabetes, the obesity, the hypertension, they all tie into cardiovascular disease risk. So testosterone deficiency is being looked at in some circles as a predictive risk factor for cardiovascular disease. If you think that you have testosterone deficiency symptoms, you may be catching your cardiovascular disease risk early. Now, what is the classical medical definition of low T? That's a total testosterone below 300, a free testosterone below 50. So those are two markers on your blood test that conventionally those medical doctors will look at and diagnose you. But it's possible to have markers above that and still be low T based on what your estrogen's doing, your sex hormone binding globulin's doing, your inflammatory levels, your insulin levels, nutrient deficiencies, stress levels, sleep, all of these things matter. So we want to walk through those things and see how do they impact testosterone levels. So sleep. Sleep has been shown in men of all ages, even in young men. If you go a week straight of 5 hours of sleep or less, that decreased testosterone levels up to 15% in just 1 week in young men. That's important because many people say, oh, I just have low T associated with aging. But the research shows that the low T and aging correlation is very weak. And what's stronger is the decline in men's health with age is tied more tightly to the decline in testosterone than the actual age of the man. Stress also decreases testosterone by inhibiting the HPA and HP gonadal axis, because if you're running from a tiger, sexual reproduction is not a good strategy for survival. So chronic stress is going to suppress sex hormone function. Bone loss, osteoporosis, and osteopenia can be signs of low testosterone in men. And sleep apnea, going back to the sleep picture, sleep apnea is highly correlated with testosterone deficiency. The worse the sleep apnea and the worse the BMI, the lower the testosterone. So these are all things that could be clues to you that you have testosterone deficiency. What can you do? Well, first, you want to address toxins and consider whether those are involved. High BPA levels and cadmium toxicity have been associated strongly with testosterone deficiency. You want to change your stress levels and moderate that. You want to evaluate for nutrient deficiencies, specifically in zinc, vitamin A, vitamin D, selenium, and vitamin E. Those nutrients are key in the testosterone physiology and also in fertility. So if you have low T, that's affecting your fertility by affecting sperm count and quality, those nutrients are very important. So addressing all those factors by losing weight, increasing lean muscle mass, which increases insulin sensitivity, and improving sleep hygiene and nutrient levels are keys to taking you from your low T state to optimal T state and returning to a life at optimal.